So, looking at part 3 of our editing assignment, and all right, off to a start. So, the first thing I tackled in this was the comping, since one, it was the newest aspect that we were working on, and two, since I figured I can't really properly time align anything until I actually get the takes that I need, instead of working around and having to redo a bunch of work. So, um, my approach for comping wasn't too different than everything else, or what was shown on the videos. What I did do, so the first thing to my approach, obviously, was finding something similar in waveform shape. Before I get too far, one thing I did that I'm going to delete after I'm done with, is I duplicated the one comped take. I duplicated that composite. That way, all of the volume, panning, and all that would be identical. And I would be able to actually, when I listened, I'd be able to actually hear it exactly the same, and could do a direct A-B comparison on what I was hearing. So the big thing that I did is, when I found a spot, I went ahead and held shift. I clicked on the actual clip, and then I went down when I found whatever it was I was using. So say that one. I would then go down to the take that I thought it was and hit shift, and I'd hit shift and click on the spot. I would do my my A/B comparison, just listen back and forth, mute, unmute, etc. And then I would just, when I found what I wanted, I would just click that promote arrow, and obviously pop right up there. And I essentially just went down the line with that, dragging each one down there. And then when I found it, found the again, when I found the clip, the appropriate clip, boom. I know this isn't the actual clip, but I just do that, promote, and then it would put it right where it needed to be. So after I did that, I went ahead and once I had my composite, my remade version of it, I went ahead and used the Beat Detective on that, and it went ahead and did my Beat Detective, captured selection, analyzed, got them points, separated, conformed, and then I ended up with one of these. Oops. Applied my crossfades, and then duplicated it on the every odd measure from 35 to 49 as stated. So, and I'll delete this track right here before I actually save and submit and everything. So from there, all right, going down the list, started with, I just again went down the line. When tracks were kind of together, such as the Moog brass, and the bass, they're very similar parts. I didn't edit those directly together because they were different parts and they had slight variances, but obviously I made sure that they were in the same vein, and they ended up being on the same, obviously in the same spots. So I did those using Beat Detective, then went down the line, did the rest of that track with Beat Detective. For this for these Moog tracks, I'm finding that when I'm working with audio that does not have strong transients, I am not liking. So if it's a stereo track or has a lot of transients or some kind of combination of that, I am not liking to use Beat Detective for these tracks without clearly defined. I am liking to use the Elastic Audio. I used polyphonic. Well, I tried monophonic just to see how it works, and like I know in this particular track, it it delivered some weird anomalies that were not yeah, not correct. It altered the track quite a bit. So going down the line, used Beat Detective on these chimes. Again, they have a really clear transient, really clear start. So obviously was able to do good work with that. With this particular synth, I probably could have used Beat Detective on that, but I decided to use the Elastic Audio just because it was a stereo track and there was the actual right and left channels were pretty different. I probably could have easily done that with Beat Detective if it was mono, but so for this theremin track, I ended up using Elastic Audio, and I tried using Beat Detective at first because I looked at it and thought that it had pretty decent transients. So, but when I cut that up, it was very choppy. So I went ahead and backed out, and yeah. So this particular track I was going to do with Elastic Audio, this Note AD track, and I ended up using Beat Detective, and it seemed like it worked out. Alright, so going down the list, so this Rhodes track, again, very similar. Kind of went down the list, did both of them. I didn't do them directly at the same time, but as I did that one, I also did that one immediately after. Same thing with the one down here because they're essentially all the same. They're essentially all the same, just different textured and different sound, but playing similar things rhythmically. So again, used polyphonic on. I ended up using polyphonic on all of this. And down the line, this one I used Beat Detective. I thought it had a little bit better. I thought the transients were a little bit better on it. Again, you have these clear transient points where here you have that one, but that's really the only clear one. So same thing, had these nice defined boom, boom, boom. Easy on using Beat Detective. Use Beat Detective on this one, and I'm actually surprised that I used Beat Detective on this track over here. And thought it turned out decently. So these guitar tracks here, I went ahead and same type of thing. I treated these as one essentially. I did them separately, but I knew that they were essentially playing the same thing, so I made sure that those lined up correct. And of course, my comp track here. Yeah, all my those comps. So these teletracks right here. Used Beat Detective on all these. Made sure to lock that these, again, they're kind of playing together, so made sure that they were locked in decently. And I used, now this was kind of an experiment on my part. I would have normally used Beat Detective on this track right here, on this Guitar 9 track. I did not, because essentially because there were a lot of crossfades in it, and so I was just curious. Went ahead and used the Elastic Audio, because I really didn't use Elastic Audio much on the guitar track, so I wanted to hear how it affected, and didn't seem to have any adverse side effects or weird coloration to the sound, and it really worked out. I was able to, since these tracks were very similar, I did the one with Beat Detective and then the one with Elastic, and it kind of let me hear kind of let me hear you know, what kind of difference there was there, and again, didn't have anything that sounded out of tune or anything like that, so overall that worked out. And that pretty much sums everything up for this week.